Janavi. Our usual format is we say hi, hello, then I make a joke about lunchtime. Then what happens is that we talk about, in a very self-deprecating way, why people are not watching our lives, which we need to solve at some point in time. But I do notice that a lot of people are actually spending a lot of minutes watching us both. So hopefully it is worth their while. Then what you do is you set the topic up of the day, then we agree to disagree because we keep giving points to each other, and we conclude on a slightly optimistic and maybe a solution oriented mode. So that's how I see the format going. So would, if you agree, then what is the topic for us today?
Yeah, so first of all, it feels like insert syntax here kind of mode.
Oh well, nobody knows it, but we are AI. Yeah.
So, yeah, setting up the context. So, today we are going to talk about how the FMCG companies these days, the bigger companies, they are facing the brunt on both ends, the rural market as well as the tier one markets, in terms of their reduction in sales volume growth. And the increasing stocks at the general trade centers, which they are not able to, remove or replenish. So, so the wider context is that in the last year, the FMCG companies together have grown only 2 to 3%,
Yeah.
while they own around 34% of market share of our economy, of the consumer goods economy. While the smaller players, which are the D2C players, they owning around 67% remaining of the economy, they have grown around 5 to 6%. Although it's a consolidated figure, but still it gives an emergence of the D2C markets, and in the rural sectors, the regional players like Balaji Wafers, which are causing a lot of problems for FMCG in their current models. So I have a couple of points, but I would like to weigh your opinion
No,
first.
let's break the format today. What I thought would be interesting is for a couple of questions come to mind, and then maybe you can make your points, and I could give you some thoughts. One is there, when we say FMCG, it represents a bigger trend. Are there any specific FMCG products or services, whatever you want to call it, which are leading this, like maybe beverages or, as you mentioned, Balaji? So that is one question that comes to mind, and maybe you can illuminate us. And the second is, why why do you think this is happening? So please go for it.
So for your first question, the snacking market is definitely something that D2C is dominating in,
Mm.
and then the cosmetic groups, right? So in the snacking department, you see companies like Whole Truth, Yoga Bar. These are the companies, and Balaji Wafers, of course, is a very big regional player now. It has come to the metro cities. It's no longer a Karnataka brand, a Maharashtra brand,
Yeah.
right? So, and at the same time, you see companies like Mama Earth coming up. You're seeing a number of D2C brands that are making their mark. So, as for the answer of why, I think one of the major reasons, even though people have cited reasons like inflation or growing housing prices and reducing pockets and all of that, I think they are missing out on some very fundamental behavioral trend that has come up, at least in the tier one cities, right? So in the tier one cities, there is a lot of disposable income coming in. Now,
Mm.
for example, earlier our problem was that Indian diaspora, we were not able to meet the required calories or required nutrients, because of lack of disposable income, because of we were just coming out of the colonial era and all. And so Parle G was something that struck the markets at just 5 rupees. A laborer could have a cup of tea with Parle G and gain his day's calories. Now that is no longer an issue, because we have ample amount of sustenance goods. Now we are moving more towards either guilt-free snacking, or we are seeing a lot of consumers who are looking at how much fiber there is, how much protein there is
Yeah.
in these
But
snacks,
are you
right?
saying this is happening in the rural or the tier two?
This is the tier one sector where the D2C is coming up. In the rural sectors, I think one of the major reasons is that now for India, there is no one authentic food,
Yeah.
right? the taste in Maharashtra is different from the taste in Tamil Nadu,
Yeah.
taste in Karnataka is different. So
Yes.
the regional brands are solving that particular taste palette of that particular region.
Mm.
And now, because of the country-wise globalization, you may call it, or nationalization, a Karnataka person definitely wants to taste what a Punjabi palate feels like.
Okay.
So they are also adopting what a Punjabi brand comes up with. They don't want to just keep on eating the Lays, even though Lays has expanded into a number of palettes with Kurkure and all. But we are still seeing these regional authentic tastes of each and every state coming up because everybody wants to taste what the other taste feels like.
So are you saying that people in Gujarat want to have Chitale Srikhanda from Maharashtra, or are you saying that Gujaratis want to have Gujarat-oriented things?
No, they do want to have the Gujarat oriented taste because that feels very familiar to them, but they don't want to restrict themselves to that taste. They also want to taste what other states are tasting. They also want to taste the other goods of other states. Now, if you see the kind of travelers that there are,
Hmm.
people aren't traveling in their own states. People from south are going to Himachal Pradesh more and more, right? And there, once you go there, earlier there used to be just thelas of Maggie all around, but now you are seeing people flocking towards the dhabas of those places. They don't want to just go to chains or McDonald's in Missouri. They want to taste what actual Himachal or Uttarakhand food feels like. So
This
I
is,
think, yeah,
yeah, this is so interesting. So I'm going to go all anecdotal to your research orientation. The first anecdote I would definitely say is that I think it's a passing on to newer generations. I mentioned Chitale Bandhu Mithai Wale from so they are known for their bakar wadis, and for the longest time they were focused only on Pune, and people used to flock towards Pune towards getting those bakar wadis. Now, suddenly, the younger generation has come in and taken the reins over at Chitale Bandhu, and they've started their distribution. And so, at airports, in say Ahmedabad airport, you see a Chitale Bandhu counter, and you can buy bakar wadis, which may not necessarily be as fresh as they are in say the Chitale, and that's just a perceived myth for a Punekar like me. But that is one thing that I have certainly noticed in India. The second thing is that I think we are all becoming like, we are recognizing the Europeness in us, in the sense that Italians go and eat Spanish food, and Spaniards go and eat French food, but everybody avoids McDonald's. You see what I'm saying? So I think that is what is happening. And just connected to that, another anecdote is that I just was thinking to myself as you were saying this, that when McDonald's, and I know that it's not necessarily FMCG, but it falls into that specific category, right, of
yeah,
all of that. So when McDonald's came into India, McDonald's was not particularly considered as a like a everyday convenience sort of thing, but it was considered as a luxury item. And
yeah,
over a period of time, it kind of lost its mojo or whatever as a luxury item, which probably is helpful for McDonald's. And then I realized that, the only time when I have McDonald's maybe is when I'm going from Pune to Mumbai on the expressway, because, I just think, okay, let's be safe or something like that. And that's it. So the use cases for generic bland food have certainly reduced in tier one for a person like me. I can give that anecdotally, and I'm sure there are many more like me. But I would also say that even within tier two, your example of Himachal Pradesh being a destination for people in South India to go to is again very big. So I see that there is a fundamental product problem there with FMCGs, isn't
yeah,
it? Because they're creating something for the masses. It's like the Hindi formula film of the 1980s, which suddenly lost, in 1990s too, which suddenly lost track because of films like Dil Chahta Hai that came in
yeah.
2000, right? Because that was a
Agreed.
watershed moment. What do you think?
Agreed. One of the biggest problems with FMCG or any big companies, in fact, is they don't have a very agile innovation methodology, right?
Hmm.
FMCG generally hires people from FMCG or from the bigger companies. Now, these people are already coming from the mindset of 50 years back. But what the smaller companies or the startups they are doing every day, they are innovating. They're going out to the coffee shops. They're trying to understand how many calories the person is consuming, or what kind of menu the consumers are ordering with from the barista,
Yeah.
right? So every day or every product of theirs goes through a pilot run. They do customer feedback, and not just those stupid surveys and everything. They actually try to understand the behavior of the consumer, of how they're ordering, what they are purchasing. So I think one of the biggest problems for FMCG is also that they have relied very heavily on general trade throughout, and they still continue to do that. But now with the advent of quick commerce, where the shelf is no longer an option, the shelf
Mm,
view is no longer an option,
mm.
the smaller brands, they are going very heavy on their value proposition, that the Mama Earth is natural, or Whole Truth is protein, is actual protein. Everybody knows that Horlicks is just sugar mixed with chocolate. But
Yeah,
Whole Truth is telling you I'm actually an authentic product. And with the evolving customer becoming more aware, and especially because now we have Google on our fingertips, we
yeah.
know which brand is lying and which is telling us the truth. We know what the ingredient is, what the ingredient is going to do. So, with the awareness of the public coming more into the picture, FMCG needs to take a step back and see what the customer is actually looking for, is actually wanting, and try to come out with the products that aren't just, fluff.
But tell me one thing, why haven't they done this? I mean, they have data at their fingertips. They have the brightest of bright minds, maybe, and they have the ability to, connect the narrative like we are connecting. So, is there some inherent reason? Is what my question is. Somewhere they seem to be missing what is clearly obvious to us as outsiders.
Uh, could be a number of reasons, but one of the major reasons that I have seen, all of these companies, all of the bigger companies,
Mm.
they have such stringent processes that
Yeah.
to bring one product into the market, they take 2 years. In 2 years, in this current scenario, the consumer behavior is changing on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. So you
Mm.
can't take 2 years for coming out with a product that will just go out of trend in another 3 to 4 months. Secondly, now for example, Domino's came out with the dal makhni pizza for some
Yeah.
goddamn so what they are not able to understand, that the Indians are not just looking for Indian palettes, they are not looking just for fusion. They are looking for either a very westernized approach towards food, or a very very regional approach towards food.
Yeah.
And they are somewhere meshing both of these together. They are still going massy when they should be going targety.
As somebody from the UK, I would definitely say that, I made a TikTok recently which says, "What does an Indian eat in India?" And it's certainly not Indian, right? So because that's what they say in the UK. Oh, let's go for an Indian meal. So the weird thing is that we go for the regional meals and stuff like that. So it's a fairly complicated thing for any FMCG player that is listening. We are more than happy to help you at a hefty consulting fee. What I would suggest is choose the smallest of your brands in the toughest of your territories, and let us help build and enable your storytelling in with the right behavioral traits to the right generation as well. And if
Yes.
you're a regional player, we'd love to learn from you, and we'd love to co-create with you, and see what magic you and us can bring to the table. I don't know.
Exactly. And we can also help you understand what market you should target, because stop looking at all sides of the spectrum. Double down on our market.
But anyways, no free gyan, no free gyan. Actually, that's what we are doing, Janavi. We are giving free gyan, which is good, which is good. But on that happy note, we shall say bye and hopefully see each other on Friday.